can borrow up to $5 million through SBA-backed loans with as little as 2.5% down to buy your own small business, like this tree removal service in Rhode Island that's listed for $4.9 million. Now this business, they're advertising $2.5 million in annual cash flow, which means if you put 2.5% down to buy this business, your net after making your loan payments cash flow is gonna be over $1.4 million per year. Now I love this business. I think tree removal companies do really well. They typically have big backlogs. They're a great business. They're kind of CapEx heavy, but otherwise I think they're a great business. Now this particular business, they have 8 employees and they've been in business for 30 years. But looking at the listing, I feel like something is off. I mean, just looking at the numbers, I feel like this should be a $10 million business, not a $4.9 million business. I know this is a fairly unsophisticated marketplace, but it's not that dumb. And of course, one clue you can get into whether the information you're seeing is legit or not is if you've been doing a lot of this like we have, is that we know which brokers tend to do a good job and which brokers tend to do a bad job. And this is listed by a brokerage firm that just has a terrible track record with us. Now, of course, the good news is there's a lot of room for the advertised numbers to be wrong and this still be a good deal. I mean, I think if the numbers were off by $1 million, I'd still be happy to buy this business. But with my experience, listings that are that far off, they're usually off by more than $1 million. Somehow they always end up being off by like 100%. Sometimes it looks like they make so much money and the listing looks too good to be true, and then you actually go through the numbers and you're like, hey, wait a minute, you're actually losing money. But other than just bad numbers, one thing you want to keep in mind is that this is a fairly CapEx intensive business. You need a lot of heavy machinery. Heavy machinery breaks down, needs to be replaced over time. CapEx is not properly accounted for in the cash flow numbers because you're adding back the depreciation expense on the taxes. Depreciation expense is essentially how the CapEx spend of the business flows through the tax returns. So anything that's going to be really capital intensive, when you look at it online, the cash flow is really overstated. So what do you think? Would you buy this business? Reach out if you want to buy a business together.